Blue Lock Chapter 216 is now out, and we have gotten a lot of new information about this Uber's team. We start off back with Barou and Snuffy having a conversation about Barou becoming Snuffy's successor. Snuffy tells him that based off of his specs and mindset, he is the best fit to be striker in all of Blue Lock. This is high praise from Snuffy, who's telling Barou that essentially he's the best in Blue Lock, even compared to others like Rin, Asagi, and Shido. He also says he's the best in the Neo Egos League, so I don't know why he essentially says this, because we have Kaiser, who is a new Gen 11, and possibly someone else in PXG other than Rin and Shido. Snuffy tells Barou that they should work together for Barou to become Uber's next king. Barou then refuses, which gives Snuffy a confused look. Barou has been stubborn ever since we met him, and he is not the person to change his ideals for anyone. He is who he is, and nothing will change that. He did take a slight change of heart at first from hearing Snuffy's story about his friend, but still, he's not the same person as Snuffy's friend. Barou then says he doesn't want a crown that's handed to him, and he doesn't want to be like Snuffy, a coward that's scared of the future. Now in the previous chapter, Snuffy talks about how talent can only get you so far in life in soccer. Snuffy sees soccer as a job, and he currently is running a business as an Uber's coach. He's telling Barou that he is a human first, and he will have to accept himself if he can no longer play football anymore. Snuffy is giving him genuine advice about the reality of the football world. Not everyone can win, and many people get injured or just aren't the same anymore. You can tell Snuffy has seen a lot in his time as a player and only wants to nourish the next generation. Barou then walks out of the practice room to all of Uber's outside. We have Nico, Aiku, Sendo, and Aru. Aiku tells Barou that he can't believe he refused this kind of opportunity. Barou cannot believe that they are actually buying into the Uber system, and just continues to walk off. Barou only fights for himself. He has no interest in teamwork or cooperation. We then cut to a panel where Barou is doing some stretches, and he has his hair out. Then randomly the TV turns the channel to some action, and someone is talking in the background. It is none other than Lorenzo. Lorenzo tells Barou that Snuffy has been taking a liking to him, and we just see him randomly eating popcorn with his mouth open. Barou yells to him about spilling popcorn and to not eat in the room. Barou has always been a clean freak, so it is no surprise that he still holds out with anyone. He tells Lorenzo to change the channel back to rainforest sounds, but Lorenzo continues to talk anyway. Lorenzo says that Snuffy is called the Crown Messenger because he wins trophies for every team he plays for. This meaning of Crown Messenger also means that Snuffy is viewed as the king. He is the same way as Barou and had that egotistical style of play that worked for him and allowed him to win games. Lorenzo then says that his goal is to win in all 5 of the big leagues, because that was the dream he shared with his best friend. He will achieve that once he wins Series A with Ubers, and then he will retire. So Snuffy's playing his own coaching soon, and that is why he wants a successor to take his place. Barou still does not care and tells Lorenzo to clean up his mess. We then get a huge smile from Lorenzo as he shows off his teeth. Lorenzo asks Barou if he wants to check out his teeth, and Barou wants no parts of that. Now we get huge information on Lorenzo and his past. His parents abandoned him, and he survived on the streets by swindling people out of their money. He was losing hope and was on the verge of dying, but then Snuffy asked him to play football with him. Lorenzo then asks Snuffy for money, and Snuffy says sure and that they should do business together. Lorenzo said that at first he thought who was this maniac, but then he challenged him. He told Snuffy to give him money to replace his rotten teeth with gold ones, and Snuffy actually does it. He dragged him to the nearest dentist and had them give him gold teeth. Just like that, his life turned around instantly. Now I'm not really sure why Snuffy went out of his way to not only talk to Lorenzo, but also give him money and teeth. I guess it all panned out well because Lorenzo is now the king of Uber's defense and is a new Gen 11 member. Lorenzo then says that it's mind-blowing how a good-for-nothing street urchin like him became a football player. Barou still does not care and asks what is the point of him telling him this. Lorenzo tells Barou that Snuffy's the type of guy who won't abandon the less fortunate. He's crazy enough to give them a future. This is awe-inspiring from Lorenzo, who you can tell has high praise for Snuffy as he is the one who helped him out when he needed someone. This also tells a lot about Snuffy. If Snuffy was like Barou in the past, there's no way he would be helping out the less fortunate. The death of his friend really changed Snuffy, and it seems that is what made him eventually change his ways to not just becoming a better player, but becoming a better person. Even when Snuffy is talking to Lorenzo, he tells him let's do business together. I wonder just what he saw in Lorenzo, but that is something to think about for another time. Now after their talk, Snuffy comes in the room and tells them that it's time for training, only if they want to. Lorenzo is barking like a dog waiting for orders from Snuffy, so you know he's going to come through. Barou then says that he will also work with them. Barou says that he does not want to be a successor, but a striker that surpasses Snuffy. He then tells Snuffy that his job is to help him become the king of the football world. Snuffy agrees and says that they have a deal. Just like businessmen, Barou and Snuffy are able to come to terms with an agreement. Snuffy finds someone who can replace him as the next king of Ubers, and Barou finds someone who can plan a team that fits to his playstyle and role to becoming the king of the football world. These two are another match made in heaven. We then see the training room as everyone is on the treadmill. Snuffy says that the Uber squad will act as Barou's arms and legs, and all of the strategies will be centered around him. This is a team that focuses solely on Barou as a goal scorer, similar to how Moonchen was before Blue Lock got there. Snuffy assigns Barou with the task of refining his ability as a goal scorer. especially his 1v1s against the goalkeeper. He tells Barou that his 28-meter shot is amazing, but a top-notch goalkeeper can figure out its timing and won't let him score so easily. He then tells him you don't shoot when you want to shoot, you shoot the instant the enemy lowers its guard. This is a huge testament to Snuffy's coaching. He was able to change Barou's sense of shooting and have him hide and wait in the shadows as a predator. Before, Barou would just shoot at will randomly, but now he has more discipline and control in waiting for his prey, just like how he was doing in the under 20 match. Now we go back to the game and we have Nico, Sendo, and Barou. A predator constantly uses its sense to see the moment its prey relaxes and drops its guard. We then see Barou's eyes are squinted and showcases an intense stare like a lion feasting his eyes on his enemies. Moonchen has no idea who has the ball because they moved in a blind spot that KiiNGKhyy cannot see. By the time he realizes it, it's too late, and we see Barou's eye again with an intense drawing and Lorenzo's mouth aura around him. A move that requires super high level teamwork. We have Barou's new secondary weapon, the stealth kill shot. He kicks the ball through the blind spot of the players and scores the goal. Ubers and Moonchen are now tied at 1-1, and we see Barou again with Lorenzo's aura on his neck and his lightning aura around him. He tells the Ubers to serve him. This is a really good chapter. The Ubers are hitting form, and we can see the teamwork and history as to why Barou was able to get a hat trick in a game. Now the next chapter is called Predator Eye, which will go into detail about Barou's new eyes, the Predator Eyes, so I'm excited to see how they explain that. From the looks of it right now, Predator Eyes works a lot differently than Metavision. Metavision is a godlike view that allows you to see the entire field, whereas Predator Eyes look solely on focusing on your prey, or the goalkeeper in this instance, and finding the moment to strike. Once your enemy lets his guard down like KiiNGKhyy did, you then use that to your advantage. This type of setup really can only work if your team is in sync. These strategies are amazing and allowed Nico and Sendo to position themselves in a spot where KiiNGKhyy could not see the ball. He first confuses KiiNGKhyy by passing the ball and then creates a blind spot to score. Barou is truly evolving in front of our eyes, and I don't even know what to say. We had already gotten so much momentum from Asagi and his goal, but now Barou is showcasing why he's the #1 striker in Blue Lock right now. Barou has to come to terms with the Ubers and is actually using his skills to where they can excel the most. This is the most advanced display development we have seen in Blue Lock, I feel. The Ubers team are all calculating and have adjusted their skills to helping Barou. He became the king of this team and has really set the bar. They all move like an organized unit now, and we constantly see Lorenzo's mouth eating aura around him. This showcases the high level stats that Snuffy has called out, and Lorenzo is the main anchor of the team to help put it together for Barou to score. This will be a very hard game to decide who the winner will be. Barou has just completely switched the tide, and even after Asagi's first goal, Ubers seemed unfazed and went right back to work. I don't know how this goal will affect Moonchen as KiiNGKhyy looked completely stunned, and even Asagi could not figure out everything with Metavision. The one thing Ubers always bring up is work. To them, soccer is work, work, work. There's still a lot of game left to see what happens, but man did this chapter give us another huge look into Ubers. Snuffy is really in his bag right now and is going for the goal to win for Ubers. He has made strategies that carry out the best for each individual and focus on all of the data that has come from them. He is known as the Crown Messenger and will be hard to defeat against. Noah has already said that 1v1 duels will be the key to winning this game. It also looks like he will be counting on Raichi to be the team's defensive anchor, so I'm curious on how he will be able to stop the offensive force of Lorenzo and Barou. His physicality is top notch, so he could have been improving on other things as well. Well, there's still many things to wait for as the Ubers match continues in the next chapter. Let me know how you guys feel about Barou, and who do you think will win now that we have seen the improvement of Blue Lock players on Ubers. I thank you guys for watching the video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be back in the next one. Peace.